asset-based community development in 3 minutes. Starting now. This is Charlie. Charlie has a career, has experienced a measure of success, a house he calls home, a family he loves, and is part of a faith-based community of people who are much like Charlie. Because Charlie is part of a faith-based community, he naturally has a heart for people. At some point in Charlie's life, he became inspired to step out and help those who seem stuck by their circumstances to get out of their circumstances and also experience a measure of success. So that's what Charlie did. He stepped out and began caring for people by doing community service. After a while of doing community service to the poor in his community, Charlie realized something. What Charlie realized was that he and his community were in a city. But Charlie and his community lived in Redlands, and Redlands looks a little more like this. What Charlie realized was that often the middle-class members of his community look out at the under-resourced people in the city and think to themselves, those people are broken, they make poor choices, and they are poor. And then he and those that are like him do community service relating to their neighbors based on their neighbors' brokenness and poverty. At some point in that relationship, the under-resourced neighbors react to the attitude of Charlie's community and look back at the middle class and think to themselves, those people are broken too. They're hypocritical. They don't understand. They have their own kind of poverty. What Charlie and his community learned to do was, instead of seeing people for their brokenness, poor choices, and poverty, they looked at them and saw them for their gifts and strengths. Then, instead of service, or engagement, or participation, or care, Charlie just decided to be community with his under-resourced neighbors. Charlie and his community decided to be a part of the informal network of friendships with all of their neighbors. What happened was that the under-resourced no longer saw Charlie and his friends as broken, hypocritical, or demeaning. What they saw were friends who were compassionate. From that point, the under-resourced neighbors and Charlie's community were friends who were willing to accept each other's weaknesses because they appreciated their strengths and friendships so much more. Much of this was made possible only because Charlie and his family moved out of their house and made a home as neighbors among the under-resourced. What happened was that middle-class community and the low-income neighbors of Charlie helped address each other's poverty through meaningful relationships. Together, they were able to solve many types of poverty. Isn't this a better picture of community recovery?